Hello everyone, good evening. Can anyone confirm audible or not? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes.
So yesterday where we stopped. Yesterday we discussed about what? Yesterday where we stopped.
Functions. Functions, sir. How to call a function.
About functions, right? Okay. In functions, one is like, come on, with
With
parameter we discussed, without parameter we discussed, with return type, okay, with return value, without return value, we discussed this or not. Okay. So let me ask some questions, just you can answer it. So all are completed, right? Environment setup. I mean, Google Colab, local, Jupyter Notebook, and VS Code editor, and command prompt how to run the program. The next one is like in the online editor how we can run the program. These all are completed or not? If you're not complete, just complete the setup. Environment setup, you can complete it. Okay. Okay, I open new notebook. Just you can give the name, any name you can give it based on your requirement. Okay, now one by one you can answer it. If I run this one, what exactly the issue was? Come on, recap the things. If I run this one, exact issue.
Name FN not defined. Name FN
Name,
not defined.
name FN is not defined or not. Name FN is not defined. The error is like what? Name FN is not defined. Why? Because simple. First, it is looking for FN. FN defined or not? It is looking for FN. FN defined or not defined? FN is not defined. That's the reason. Okay, name FN is not defined. Okay. Now, if I write like this, what exactly the error was?
Int object is not callable.
Not callable.
Integer object is not callable or not. Okay. Now, if I write something like this, now, if I write something like this, now, is it syntactically valid or invalid? Syntactically valid or invalid?
Valid.
Valid.
100% valid. If you write like a pass, it means, okay, no statements. Just think like that. If you call it my FN call without any statements, okay, what happened? Nothing is going to print or not. Yes or no? Okay. Now, if you run this one, what happened? If you run this one, what happened? If you
Name
run
A is not defined.
A is
Not
okay.
defined.
If I remove this one, if I run it, come on, only these two statements. If I run, will it give any error or not? Will it give any error? No, right? Why? Because you defined a function syntactically valid, but the statement is not executed at this moment, right? When that statement is going to execute? When that statement is going to execute? Whenever you call. Now you can get the error is like what? A is not defined or not. A is not defined. Now, if I write like this, syntactically 100% valid. Now, if you run this one, what exactly the error was?
Missing one
Hmm?
parameter. Missing one required positional argument.
Yeah, FN call required one positional argument. Okay, FN call, okay, missing one positional argument. Yeah, yes or no? FN call missing one required positional argument A or not? Yes or no? Okay. Now, what error? Now, what error?
Int object not callable.
Integer object is not callable. You're right. Okay, now if I write like this, then
Takes one parameter would give
yeah, if
two arguments.
you're right,
Take
F1 call take one required position parameter, but two are given or not. F1 call take one positional argument, but two are given or not. Yes or no? Okay, but I don't want any error. My output should be Sachin. So what code snippet you want me to write here? If I call my Fn, my output should be Sachin. So what code snippet you want me to write here? Tell me. It should take one parameter only. Yes or no? That parameter type should be what? That parameter type should be what? One. That
function.
parameter type should be what? Function. Okay, so can I create a function? Can I define a function? How we can define a function? Df fn. Okay, print. Okay, or pass, you can do it. Pass, done. Now instead of 10, can I pass what? Okay, instead of
That's it.
10, can I pass f1? Yes. Now whenever you pass this data, okay, how many parameters is expecting? How many positional parameters expecting? One. You also passed how many? One only. So no issues. That one, based on the statement, type should be what?
Function.
Function. So you also passed what? Function only or not? So if you run this one, this guy is expecting a as a function. You also passed a okay parameter as a function, so that there has no issue. At the same time, no output also. But my requirement is what? I want to print what?
Sachin.
Sachin.
That's searching. So that can I write like this? Okay. Now if you run this, okay, you are calling a. You are calling a is nothing but what? Replace a with f1. You are calling f1. Whenever you call f1, my f1 body executed. My body is like what? Searching. Yes, no? Agreed. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay then. Now, can anyone tell me? Okay. Now, what code change is required to get the output Sachin? If we run this one, what is my output? If I run this one, what is my output? Second block, if I run, what is my output? If I run the second block, what is my output? Come on. If I run the second block, what is my output?
Yeah, fun.
Perfect. You're right. Okay. It gives me what? F1 function. It gives me F1 function. But my requirement is what? What I said. My output should be Sachin. So my output should be Sachin. So what you have to do? If it is like F1 function, if you call it, you can get the output Sachin or not. Yes or no. So how we can call it? Can I call like this? Now my output is what? Sachin or not? Yes sir. Here, how many statements are there in this one? Okay. That has three statements are there. First Fn. Fn there or not there? First question, straight question. Yes, no. Fn there or
Yes.
not there? Yes, there. If it is not there, you can get the error. Fn is not defined. Fn is there, but Fn is which type? By seeing this one. Fn is which type? What is Fn? What is Fn? Fn is a function. So can you call it? Yes. While calling a function, my Fn is expecting what? One parameter. Yes, you pass that parameter or not. Okay. Whatever the parameter you passed, that one only returned. What you passed? What you passed? Function. And return what? Function only. So up to here, function call always gives me what? Return value or not. So it gives me the return value. What is my return value? F1 function. If you have a function in your hand, what you can do? You can call it. You can call it. Understood? All are okay? Understood or not? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay then. So now at this moment, you got some idea, right, about the functions. Okay, function, how you can create function without parameter, function with parameter, function with written value, function without written value, function, okay, inside one more function can return one more function. These all got some idea or not? Yes or no? Now our discussion something about parameters or arguments. Okay, now I'm going to write some codes in that. Okay, just you only answer it. Okay, syntactically valid or invalid?
L
100% valid. Okay, now if I write like this, valid or invalid?
Valid.
Valid or invalid?
Valid.
No, 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 valid or
valid.
invalid? Valid, right? What is my output? X you are passing means what is my x value? 10. Y value is what? 20. So my n1 holds 10 and my n2 holds 20. So my output is like what? 30 or not? If you observe this entire two, okay, blocks, how many variables you are there? How many variables there? Come on. Variables, nothing but which holds some data. How many variables are there?
Two variable.
How many? Okay, two variables, right? Okay, two variables. Okay, which one? Can you spell out? Which variables?
X equal to 10, Y equal to
10
2.
vehicle.
Okay, x equals to 10, no, y equals to 20. But here,
X and Y.
n1 and n2 also holding some data, right? Yes or no? N1 hold which data? X. X is nothing but what? 10. So my N1 hold 10 and my N2 hold what? Y. Y means 20 or not? Yes, no? So how many variables are there? How many variables are there? Total. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 variables are there. Now, these 4 variables, I'm going to call, okay, with some name like this. 4 variables are there, n1, n2, the next one is what? X comma y. Now onwards, whenever you define a function, if you see the variables, if you see some parameters or arguments, you can say, those you can say, okay, those variables, you can say like what? Formal, okay, formal arguments or parameters, you can say, formal arguments. Okay. Now, which values you passed, those, okay, which values you passed while calling a function, okay, if you pass some variable references, those variables, I can say, okay, those variables, I can say like, come on, those variables, I can say like a actual arguments. Okay. So overall, how many arguments are there? Just terminology wise. 4 arguments are there, n1, n2, xy. Okay, only 2 things. While defining a function, which variables are there? Those are called, while defining a function, which variables are there? Those are called formal. Okay, which variables is nothing but, okay, arguments, you can say whatever. Formal arguments. Okay, it is variable only, but you placed inside the function like this. Those are called as a terminology wise arguments or parameters. Now, if you come here, whenever you define a function, whatever the parameters you passed, those parameters, terminology wise, we can say like what? Formal parameters or formal arguments. While calling a function, if you pass some parameters like this, while calling a function, if you pass some, okay, variables like this, those variables you can say like what? Okay, actual. Okay, those arguments we can say like what? Actual arguments. At the time of defining, formal. At the time of calling, those are like what? Actual or not. Understood, everyone? Come on. At the time of defining, those are like what? Formal. At the time of calling, those are like what? Actual. Okay. Any questions so far? The next one. This is okay. Okay, formal parameters and actual parameters. Okay. Whenever you define a function, if you have, that is like a formal. Well, calling, obviously, how to pass some data. Those are like what? With a variable reference, if you pass, those are like what? Actual arguments or not. Okay, but my next level discussion is something about the arguments only, but the arguments are looks like this. One is like positional arguments. One is like positional arguments. Positional arguments. The next one is like default arguments. Okay, the next one is like keyword arguments. Keyword. Okay, the next one is like
variable length arguments.
variable length. Variable length. The next one is like keyword variable length. Okay. Keyword variable length arguments. There has different arguments. Okay, that arguments may be formal or actual. That's okay, fine. But the arguments types are like what? Positional arguments and the default arguments and keyword arguments and the variable length and keyword variable length. Already this particular terminology most of the times used. This terminology most of the times used or not? Yes or no? If you write fn n1 comma n2 n1 comma n2, if I write something like this, pass only can take it. Now if I call fn like this, then the you can get the error is what? Fn call required two positional arguments n1 n2 or not, n1 n2 or not. Yes or no? If you pass 1 comma 2 comma 3, then the type, okay, you know that fn call take two parameters but three were given or not. Take two parameters or arguments, three were given or not. See, whenever you define a function, the first position argument is this one, second position argument is this one. First position argument you have to pass some data, second position argument you have to pass some data like this or not. Whenever you call a function, which value passed first, that value go to first position argument or not. Which value you pass like a second one, the second one go to second position argument or not, second position argument or not. So based on whenever you define a function, whatever the arguments you add, okay, whatever the arguments you defined or whatever the arguments you added at the time of define the function, while calling, based on your positions only to hold the data or not. First value, first position, second value, second position argument it is going to take or not. Yes or no? Okay, here my formal arguments come under what? Positional arguments also or not? Yes or no? So here, whenever you define a function, whatever the arguments you passed, any number of arguments you can pass it, whatever the arguments you passed, those arguments while calling that particular function, those arguments should receive the data, right? First value, first position argument it is going to read. Second value, second position argument it is going to receive or not. That the reason, based on the position only, they are going to take the values or not. That the reason, these particular arguments we can say like what, terminology wise, positional arguments or not. Now if you write like this only, my first parameter go to where? This first value go to where? First position or not. This one go to where? Second position or not. So can I do something like this without any changes? Can I map this 2 with n1? Can I map 1 with n2? Possible or not possible? Come on, possible or not possible? Possible. But at the by using this syntax, it's possible or not possible?
Not possible.
Not possible, right? Not possible, right? First value go to first position, second value go to the second position only. Yes or no? Agree with me? Whenever you define a function, You can pass any number of arguments. Each and every argument get the values while calling a function. First value, okay, first position argument it is. Second value, second position argument it is going to do. That the reason these arguments we can say like what? Positional arguments or not. Yes or no? Agree with me all or? Okay, here n1 and you can say like what? Formal arguments also. Formal also. But okay, formal arguments, okay, positional arguments, both are like what? At the time of defining a function, whatever the arguments are there, those we can say like what? Formal or positional. When you can say positional, whenever you call a function, you pass some data, first value go to the first position, second value go to the second position. That kind of syntax, if you see, that time you can mention my n1, n2 as like a positional arguments or not. Yes or no? Agree with me? Come on. So my question is, my requirement is what, you know, my second value go to my n1, my first value go to my n2. If it is like this only, is it possible or not possible? If it is like this only, it is possible or not possible? Okay, here always my first value is what? 1, no? My second value is what? 2. But my requirement is what? First value should be 2. Okay, this one should be go to first value and this one go to the second value. If the syntax is like this, it is not possible. Why? Because these are like based on the positions it is going to take the values. But my requirement is something different or not. So how we can means very simple. The same requirement you can take it, print n1 comma n2. Here while calling a function, okay, you can pass which value, 1 comma 2. If I write like this, always first value go to first position, second value go to second position. But my requirement is what? Second one should go to where? Second one should go to where? n1. First one go to where? n2, right? In that case, can you pass the data with some keys? My second one should go like n1 value, my first one should go like n2 value. Now if you run this, now see, my printer n1 value is like what? 2. n2 value is like what? 1. Yes or no? Come on. Okay, now tell me, here there is no change. Here 1 comma 2 value is also not changed. See this 1 comma 2, here also 1 comma 2 only. But here based on the position, the value is assigned to the parameters. Based on the position, the value is assigned to the parameter. But here based on the keys, we assign the values to the parameters or arguments or not. So here first position, this value go to the first, okay, first position, and this value go to the second position. So these are like a positional arguments. But here based on the keys you are passing the data, that the reason we can say like what? Keyword arguments or not. Understood everyone? With keys, if you pass some data, those arguments we can say like what? Those arguments we can say like what? With the keys, okay, if you pass the data, those arguments we can say like what? Keyword arguments or not. Okay na? Agreed everyone? Okay, now see. Now what happened? Now what happened?
Is not defined.
N3 not defined.
n3,
Not defined.
when you can get the not defined error? When you can get the not defined error? Whenever you use the value, right? Whenever you use a variable, but that variable is not defined. But here, am I using, am I assigning some value now? I'm assigning some value, I'm not using. So n2 value is what? Tell me, n2 value is what?
1.
n1. n3 value is what? 2. But n3 there or not there?
Not there.
Not there. n1 value required or not? But n1 value passed or not passed? Not passed. One function required one parameter value. If you not pass, what exactly the error was? Fn call missed one required positional parameter. What is that positional parameter? Okay, what is that positional parameter? Come on, tell me. As per you, there has one error message there. Tell me that one. This fn has one. Come on, fn has one required positional parameter. Okay, missing one required positional parameter, that is n1. Before that, if you observe here, f1 got unexpected keyword argument or not, but here n3 you are passing, that n3 there or not there, n3 there or not there, n3 not there, so that is like unexpected only. Now if I remove this one, now tell me what error. Come on, if I write like this is one.
Positional parameter.
Yeah, now if you come here, if I remove this one, now how many values you passed? N2 value passed, but n1 value there or not there? N1 value there or not there? Not there. So what error? Fn missing one required positional argument n1 or not? Okay or not? Come on. So no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay then. The next one. Now okay na? Then now is it valid or invalid? N2 value is what? 1. Okay. Next one more value is there. That is go to where? Okay. N1. But here, if you observe, see, this is syntax error. Syntax error. Syntax error is nothing but what? You not follow the guidelines or not. So which guideline? Can you read it? What is the guideline? What is the guideline? Can you read it? Positional argument to follow the keyword argument or not. See here. This is like what? Positional argument, right? This is the second position. Okay. This value go to the second position argument or not? Second position argument. The positional argument should follow the keyword argument. But here, the keyword argument is follow the positional argument. That the reason it gives me an error like what? That the reason it gives me error like what? Come on. That the reason it gives me error like what? The error is like, okay, position argument should follow the keyword argument or not. Syntax error. Syntax error, if you get it, there is no reasons, nothing. There is no logic, nothing. You should have to follow the guideline. So, what is my guideline? What is my guideline? Positional argument. Okay, nothing is there means it's a positional argument. It go to the first position parameter. Positional argument should follow the keyword argument. Now it is okay or not? Come on, now it is okay or not? Okay, can I write one more? Now if I write like this, it's okay or not? So first value, first position value go to where? N1. Second one, N2 value go to N2 only. Now there is no error, nothing. It is going to execute or not. For example, if I write like this, for example, if I write like this, then what happened? For example, if you write like this, then what happened?
Syntax error.
Syntax error. How we can say syntax error? Syntax error, when you can get it? Positional argument, if not follow the keyword argument, but positional argument follow the keyword argument or not, that is syntactical valid. Positional argument follow keyword argument. So this is the positional argument, right? First position. Follow the keyword argument. Keyword argument is nothing but key value pair. Okay, tell me. So first position, okay, this value go to first position. What is my first position? N1. So N1 value at what? 10. Again, you are assigning one more value. What? N1 is like 1. N1, you assign like 2 values. But what about N2? Did you assign any value for N2? So what exactly the error? Come on, what exactly the error? My function got multiple value, multiple arguments for what? My function got multiple arguments for what?
N1.
Multiple arguments got for n1 or not. So this is the error, you can get it or not. So make sure one parameter should take one value only. If you pass like multiple, you can get the error. You can get the error. Now if you come here, now n1 n2, now if I write like this, okay, if I write like this, what is the error? What is the error?
Takes two arguments, keyword given.
Same, right? Missing keyword argument is like what? Got unexpected keyword argument like n3 or not? Got unexpected keyword argument is like what? n3. Now you can conclude keyword arguments. Okay. If you pass the data to the particular function with key value pair, if you pass some data to this particular function with key value pair format like this, then that type, those arguments we can say like a keyword arguments. My keyword arguments key should be what? Key should be what? Key should be match with your argument name or not. Yes or no? If you write some different argument name, then the time you can get the error is like what? Like this unexpected keyword argument n3 or not. And one more, the order also matter. Keyword argument, okay, my positional argument, if it is there, my positional argument always follows the keyword argument. Keyword argument should not be start like first or something. Okay, that's the reason my any positional arguments are there, those positional arguments should follow the what? Keyword arguments or not. Understood? All are agreed? So far good? Up here okay or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so far two arguments we completed. One is like what? Positional argument. Another one is like what? Keyword argument or not. Positional argument is nothing but plain values you can pass. First value go to first position, second position value go to the second argument or not. Whenever keyword arguments, then that time order not a matter. Key matters here. Okay, key and value, key and value, key and value. Here key is your argument name or not. Yes or no? And one more thing, you should not pass which arguments are there. Those argument names only how to use it. Outside, okay, any out of the name you should not use. If you give it, then that time you can get like what? Unexpected keyword argument like this, you can get it or not. Unexpected keyword argument is like n3 or not. Yes or no? At the same time, you have one more error, like if you pass the multiple values to one argument, then the time you can get like what? Receive multiple values to the, got multiple values for argument n1 or not. Like this also you can get it. And the order also matters. Okay, here when if it is like a positional arguments are there. If it is like a positional arguments are there. Okay, so tell me, if it is like a positional arguments are there, my positional argument always follows what? My positional arguments always follows what? My positional argument always follows keyword arguments.
Keyword arguments.
Keyword arguments or not. Understood? Everyone got some idea? Okay? Okay then. Shall we move to the next one? Okay then. I'm going to write some code, just you answer it, okay? Okay, everyone knows this error. Okay, this one is going to execute, but if you write something like this, okay, you can get like what? You can get like what? An error, right? Fn call require two positional arguments, but Fn call requires two positional arguments, but one given or zero given or not. Okay, that one not right. Missing. Okay, Fn missing two positional arguments a comma b or not. Fn missing two positional arguments a comma b or not. Okay, now I don't want to get this kind of errors. Okay, if you pass the value, then the time you can take that value. If you not pass, then the type Can you set some default values like this? Whenever you define a function, can you set, if you not pass anything, my a value is like 0, my b value is like 0. Like this, if you pass, now see, if I run this one, if you not pass anything, see what happened? The value is like 0 or not. See, I already told you. How many arguments are there? That many arguments exactly how to pass in one case. But in this case, see how many arguments are there? 2. But you not passed anything. Still, you are not getting any error or not. So here, whenever you define a function to this particular variables or parameters, okay, to this particular formula parameters or arguments, you can set the default values. You can set the default value. This default value, when it is going to take, if you not pass, then only it is going to take the default value. If you pass, then it is going to take your own value or not. Now, if you observe here, my a value and my b value, you passed or not passed? Not passed. So that my a and b values are like what? 0, 0 or not? Come on, my a and b values are like what? 0, 0 or not? Now, for example, if you pass something like this, fn, okay, 1, fn 1, tell me, 10, tell me. The first, this is my positional argument. First positional argument, go to first value. So here, a default value 0. But if you pass the value, then the time my default value override with your value. So what is my a value? What is my a value? My a value should be 10. The b value, did you pass or not pass? Not pass. So that my b value is like 0 or not. So you can understand, when the default value come into the picture means if you not pass the value, if you pass your value only, it's going to take. If you not pass, okay, it's going to take the default value or not. Yes or no? Now can you answer this one also? Okay, now you passed both the values. If you pass both the values, then let them say your value is only it's taken or not. Okay, now if I pass something like this, fn 10, 20, 30, then what happened? Then what happened? 10, 20, 30, then what happened? Now, missing positional arguments or not? The missing means, okay, fn take maximum 2 positional arguments, but 3 were given. That kind of error you may get it or not. Fn take, okay, 2 positional arguments, but how many you given? Fn take 2 positional arguments, but how many you given? You given like, how many? 3. Agreed, everyone? Okay, then. So you can conclude one point. At the time of defining a function, you can pass any number of parameters or arguments. Okay, if the argument is missing, okay, if the caller you not pass the argument, then the time, instead of raising an error, just you can set the default values for that particular parameters or arguments. How we can set the default value? The default parameters always you have to place at the time of definition only. First parameter and value, second parameter and value. Like this key value pairs you can. These key value pairs in the function call, if you add, then those are keyword arguments. These key value pairs in the function definition, then the time you can say like what? Default arguments or not. Understood? Got my point, everyone? Default arguments. You not pass while calling a function, so that it's going to take the default value. If you pass, then the time it's take your value or not. Then the time it's take your value. Understood, everyone? Any questions so far? So far you completed positional arguments. Next, keyword arguments. Next, positional and keyword. Next, default arguments. Okay, positional arguments, keyword arguments, and default arguments. The next one is what? Come on, variable
length argument.
variable length argument or not? Variable length argument. Okay, so can anyone tell me the variable length argument, right? Okay, first, how we can define the variable length argument inside the function. Inside the function, how we can define that particular variable length argument. That variable length argument at the time of defining you have to pass, at the time of calling you have to pass. Okay, those things you have to differentiate. First create a function. Okay, I have one issue, just you can tell. N1 value is there. Now tell me, if you see this particular function, how many numbers it can hold? Maximum how many numbers it can hold? One. Maximum how many numbers it can hold? One, right? Only one or not? Only one it can hold. For example, if I write okay 10, okay, if I write 10 20, is it able to hold or not able to hold? No, right? It gives me an error or not. My requirement is what, sometimes I'm getting like one value, so that my function should catch that value, one value, sometimes two values, sometimes three values, sometimes four values, like this. Okay, I may get like 50 values also sometimes. Then the time, how many functions are required? This particular function hold how many values? One. Okay, sometimes I may get it okay, two values also. This particular function hold how many values? This particular function can hold how many values? Two values only or not? Same like this, 3 4, like that. Now 50 values I have, then the time my function should take how many parameters? Come on, my function should take how many parameters? 50 parameters or not? So one value if you want to take one function, two values if you want to take two, okay, another one more function, three values, three argument function, four values, four argument function. For example, if I get like 50, okay, maximum you have to write like 50 functions or not? First one argument, on second one two arguments, third one three arguments, like this. 50 functions required or not? Yes, no? Come on. But my requirement is I don't want to write 50 functions. I can write it, but why I need to write 50 functions? Is there any way? Is there the argument which hold any number of parameters? That means that particular argument can hold any number of values. Is there any way? Is there? Yes. Okay. Now you can write a function. You can write a function. Okay, with one parameter only, but that parameter should, okay, that parameter should hold any number of values or not. If I write the function like this, now see, I don't have any default values. If I pass fn, okay, without any value, so it is not gives me any error. If I pass fn of 10 comma 20, then the time fn of 10 comma 20. Okay, if I pass fn of 1 comma 2 comma c, something like this. Now see, this particular n hold any number of values. No value. Okay, two values I passed. After that, 6 values I passed. Any number of values you pass, this particular variable hold that particular, okay, hold those values or not. So whenever you define a function, my requirement is which should hold any number of values, then that time you can go with a variable length argument. If it is like normal argument, exactly it's take that many values only. But if I write like star n, this variable or argument, we can say like a variable length argument, it can hold any number of values, 0 to any. See, if I not pass anything, you can get empty tuple. What is this tuple? We'll see later. If you pass like 3 only, those 3 hold with what? Again the tuple. If you pass like 6 values like this, okay, again those 6 values you can get it like a tuple format or not? Yes or no? So you want me to write 50 functions, or you want me to write only one function which can hold all 0 to 50 values? Which one is recommended one? which can hold 0 to 50 values or not. That is the recommended one or not. So how we can define? How we can define a function, okay, which can hold any number of parameters with the variable length argument or not. Now, if I write like this, variable length argument and normal argument, if I write like this, is it valid or invalid? First one is like variable length argument. Second one is like what? Normal, positional argument, normal argument. Then at the time of definition, now can you come here? The first one is like variable length argument. The second one is like this one. You can call it now. You can call it my fn 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma any number you can pass it. Okay, if I pass, now see 10 20, the first position is what? Which argument is there in the first position? In the first position, which argument is there? Variable length argument. If it is like a variable length argument, it hold any number of values or not. So my 10 20 hold with whom? N1. Is there any chance of get the value to my N2? No, right? That the reason Fn missing one required positional argument. Okay, one required keyword only the argument N2. Okay, anyway, missing one required argument or not? Missing one required argument N2 or not? Yes, no. Missing one required argument N2 or not? Agree with me? So what you want me to do? What you want me to? You want, if you define like this, if I define like this, you are getting like some error. If I define like this, you are getting some error. What is that error? My N1 is a variable length argument. It hold all the values, but N2 you not get any value or not. You are not get any value or not. So that this is not the recommended way of writing the code. So can I do slight change? Write N1, okay, and star N2. Now tell me, how many arguments are there? One is like normal positional argument, another one is like a variable length argument. Now, if I write something like this, Fn 1 comma 2 comma 3, now what happened? The one positional argument go to N1 position. So my N1 value is like 1. The next one is like 2 onwards. All the values hold with what? All the values hold with which parameter? Which argument? All the values hold with which argument? Variable length argument or not? Now see, if you observe, the first value is like 1. Second onwards, all the values are like what? In the tuple format or not? Agreed? Yes or no? Understood, everyone? So total terminology wise 6 arguments we discussed. One is like formal. At the time of definition, which arguments you defined, those are like what? Formal or not? Actual. While calling a function, which argument you passed? That is like a actual or not. The next one is what? Positional argument. Okay, whenever you call a function, we can pass some data, right? First value go to the first position value, go to the first argument, second position value go to the second argument or not. So if you see the code anywhere like that, those arguments we can say like what? Those arguments we can say like what? Positional arguments or not. The next one is what? Keyword arguments. While calling a function, pass the value to my function in the key value pair format. Okay, then you can go with what? Keyword arguments or not. Default arguments or what? One function is there. At the time of definition of the function, okay, if you want, sometimes you get the data, sometimes you not get the data. If you not get the data, then the time I want to work with default values. Then the time just at the time of defining the function, at the time of defining the function, okay, to this particular parameters, just you can set some default values or not. Yes or no? The next one is like variable length argument. Come on, the argument which can hold 0 to any number of values. That kind of arguments we can say like what? Variable length arguments or not. Agreed? Keyword variable length argument also there. At the time of dictionary we'll discuss. Up to here, okay or not? Come on. Formal,
Yes,
actual, positional. Okay, the next one is like what? Keyword arguments. The next one is like default arguments. The next one is like variable length arguments or not. Okay. Up to here, any questions? Anyone?
Can I pass one value for variable length argument?
Yeah, 0 to any, right? Okay. If you pass like 1, then what happened? This value go to n1. Okay. n2, variable length arguments can hold 0 to n number. 0 to n number. So the first value is like 1, no? The second value is like empty tuple or not? Yes or no? But here, if you see the code like this, okay. Now, if I run like this, then what happened? If I run like this, fn call missing, come on, fn call missing one required positional argument. What is that? N1 or not? Yes or no? N2 is a, come on, N2 is a variable length argument. It can hold 0 to any number of values or not. 0 to any number of values. Understood? Any questions? Okay, just practice all these things. Okay. At the same time, tomorrow and after tomorrow, no session. Go to weekdays only. This one. Go to Python. First, up to here, you can complete first 5. The next one is like functions. Just read it. There has some topics not yet covered. Just you can read functions part 1 and functions part 2. Okay. Total how many concepts? These 5 and these 2. Total 7 concepts you can read it. Okay. I'll provide you the video also. Okay. Just you can practice in the Google Colab. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one question. Initial setups means what do you type?
Which one?
Setups. First you.
Just you need to install Python software in your machine. Okay.
Okay.
Once you install Python software, you can check that Python software installed or not. Like this, just type py. It is entered into Python environment, and you can see the Python version also. Here you can write any kind of Python programs. Okay, this is like a first one. Okay, through command prompt you can run what? Through command prompt you can run your Python program like this. The next one is like, you know, that Google Colab. Okay, Colab dot. So this is the one, collab.research@google.com. Just you can log in with your Gmail, and you can see this particular environment. Okay, you can create a new notebook. You can save that notebook in the drive, and this particular notebook, whatever you written, instantly you can execute it, and you can save this one also with the interactive Python notebook extension or not. Yes or no? The next one is like online editors also you can use it. Online editors also you can use it. The next one, you can create a notebook. So far this is a notebook in the Google. Internet is required. Without internet, I want to access this kind of template. For that purpose you can go with the Jupyter notebook. After that, VS Code editor, we already run one program in the VS Code editor. Just you can try in the VS Code editor how to run the program. Okay, next one is like online editors. Directly in the online you can do what? You can execute your program. Okay, these are the ways you can set up and execute one simple program in each and every environment. Okay.
Okay. No, in the class starting, you're saying something.
Which one? The class.
Yeah, in the class started, before the class started, you're saying something setups.
Oh yeah, that
So
one.
I'm
These only.
asking.
These only. Yeah.
Okay.
This
Thank
environment,
you.
more than that, nothing.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, anyone? No? Okay then. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining. I'll upload. Okay, just these 2 days you can complete all these assignments. And one more thing, we are going to add programs also. Okay, Monday onwards, you can start work on it. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining. Bye.